As White Dee has battled with severe depression for the past 3 years, sadly brought on by the death of her mother.
Well, desperate to raise awareness about her illness, Dee joins us now along with Dr. Chris. And Dee, thank you very much for coming in and talking about this. It's one of those subjects we say, you know, it's a taboo subject. A lot of people don't come forward and speak about it. So hearing you talking about this today is always a really good thing. You were originally diagnosed in '97. It was after the birth of Caitlin, your daughter, and you were diagnosed with postnatal depression.
I was, yes.
But actually, you don't think that was necessarily the correct diagnosis for you?
No, I don't. I mean, basically, I was sort of, you know, I was told I was being a paranoid mum, you know, first time mum, every time the baby sneezed, I was at the doctor's, this, that and the other, and it was actually the doctor who actually diagnosed, said, well, I think you might be suffering postnatal depression. But I sort of just batted it off a bit and thought, no.
It's not that. And you didn't take your medication, did you?
No, didn't even cash in the prescription. I mean, because it was Prozac, believe it or not. No, I had heard about that and I thought that's a bit extreme. So no, I never took anything or anything and just carried on.
Were you aware of symptoms? Were you aware of the effects of depression, Dee, at all? Did you have any idea of what was going on with you at the time?
Not at that time, no, because it's like, you know, you sort of struggle with being a first-time mum. I mean, I was 26, so I wasn't, you know, I wasn't like young, but I think it's still a shock when you become a mum for the first time. It's, you know, it's just a learning curve, isn't it? So.
But when the depression really kicked in full on, it was sort of September 2011. Sadly, your mother passed away.
She did, yeah.
And she was the matriarch of the family.
She
so
was.
When she lost her, there was a real hole left there, not just for you, but for your father also.
Well, for all of us, because we are a small family. You know, there was mum, dad, me, and my sister, and the 2 children. So we were very, very, very close. I mean, I used to speak to her about 10, 15 times a day. See her nearly every day. You know, so for that suddenly to go, it just left a great big gaping hole.
And you were the older sibling, so you stepped up. You tried to sort of do those sorts of things that she did for the family, including taking on the role of caring for your father.
Yeah, you sort of go into overdrive, don't you? It's like, and I mean, I did sort of start, you know, obsessing over my dad, you know, sort of real old school Irish family, you know, dad had worked, mum used to do all the cooking and everything. I mean, he'd never paid a bill in his life, never, you know, so you sort of just jump in there thinking he's absolutely useless, but he wasn't, bless him.
But you were panicked because you were wanting to protect him as well, wasn't it?
Totally,
You didn't want to lose him either,
like,
so you were going through all those sorts of emotions.
He's at that age, I don't think I'll say it live on TV, but, you know, and I really did obsess, and he had to say in the end, look, you know, back off, was sort of, you know, I'm fine, stop ringing me 10 times a day, stop, you know.
Well, it was the anxiety that sort of really ramped up at this point, and then the lies that came with that, the reasons for not wanting to leave the house.
Yeah, I think once I sort of realised Dad was okay, there was nothing to do. It was just, you know, there was just a big sort of gaping hole. So I just locked myself away in the house. That's when it hit me in my head that, you know, that Mum was gone and she wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
So.
What about other symptoms? Because there was sleep, first of all, you're very sleeping all the time, and then insomnia kicks in.
It's bad because you spend like about 3-4 days just, you had to get up, I had to get up, you still had to take the kids to school, still had to look after the kids. I was sort of lying to my friends saying, oh, no, I can't come for a cup of tea today, I've got to go to my dad's, and saying to my dad, I can't come over to you, I'm at my friend's, but in reality I was just locked in the house.
And how long did that go on for then, Dee?
I'd say probably a good 4 or 5 months. One of my friends sort of, I think something clicked in her head the one day, and she was getting into my house one way or another, and she just took me off to the doctors, and that's when I just broke down, yeah.
And that's when you started to get the help that you needed.
Yeah.
And it took you a long time to get your medication right, because Chris, we'll come to you first of all. If we could sort of talk about a few of the symptoms of depression. Difficult subject, there's so many different symptoms, every case is different.
Yeah, but there are symptoms that occur commonly, and I mean, the viewers know, I mean, I've been there 3 times with severe depression, so, you know, I know what it's like as well. So, yeah, I'd like to go through a list of the sort of symptoms you can get. Now, persistent low mood. Now, these symptoms are persisting beyond 2 weeks, so it's persistent, very low mood, feeling of despair and helpless, distressed. early morning awakening. Now this is an interesting one. You're shattered during the day, you're falling asleep, you've got no energy anyhow, and your appetite's not good. But waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning is quite common. And of course you wake up at that time in the morning, it's quiet, it's dark, you're on your own with your mind, and your mind is depressed, and it's very, very difficult. The loss of confidence, loss of self-esteem, and of course you're just not coping with anything. I mean, classically, you isolated yourself to get away from everything, to shelter yourself. An interesting thing here with Dee also is her friend took her to a GP. She wouldn't go, probably wouldn't admit you were depressed because there's a stigma, terrible stigma to depression. Look, you know, she had a lot of stress, it drained her brain of natural chemicals, and she got depression. The antidepressants basically elevate those chemicals back to normal, and you start feeling better, and you will get better with depression if you take the medical treatment and medical advice.
Yes, and I guess it's about finding the right treatment for you, because it took you a long time to get your level right of what you needed.
Yeah, I mean, I have sort of been on sort of 4 different degrees, and they have changed my tablets now. I am under like the local mental health team, and they are assessing me, and they've changed me onto the sertraline now. So it's just about you still have to sort of, every time you go to like a new dose and a new medicine, your body has to readjust, doesn't it? It's like so.
And they take a while to work. I mean, when you start antidepressants, you've got to take them for at least a fortnight before they even start kicking in. And when they kick in, you don't just, suddenly feel, hey, isn't this great? You know, the first thing that improves is actually your sleep. And the patient doesn't notice any improvement. It's usually the family or the friends who see the slight change. Even now, you say you don't feel great, but you're sort of flat.
You can't. It's just numb, isn't it? You just sort of permanently feel like numb. It's like I said, the only thing that I don't sort of do anymore is like just cry 24 hours a day. It's like, it's, you know, you start taking antidepressants and you stop crying.
Well, there we are.
But you just have this permanent like numbness.
Yeah,
it's,
that will
strange.
improve as well.
But you know, we talk about, and it's incredible that we still talk about the stigma of depression and discussing it openly, which it is crazy because there are so many sufferers all over the world, and talking about it, I guess, has been a big part of the therapy for you, Dee, and admitting that there was something wrong and being capable of chatting with your friends and the doctor and everyone around
because
you.
You kind of, you know, it kind of feels personal, doesn't it? And I think it's just such a common word to be thrown about. You're having a bad day, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
You know, and people tend not to sort of take it seriously.
I want to ask you, because there's been a bit of backlash since the programme aired, and this and the other, and people are sort of saying about your depression, and then they sort of see you on the telly or they see you on the programme, and I imagine that's very unhelpful for someone like you.
It is, but you know, at the end of the day, I just sort of let it go over my head because I've got to concentrate on myself, you know what I mean? And it's like, no matter what you do, if you do really well for yourself, people will still sort of have a go, and you know, I don't pay no attention.
Because you have good days and bad days, and you did the filming on the days that were good, and on the bad days...
Well, it's sort of not even that, Holly. It's like the filming was over nearly every day for 18 months.
Right.
So they have, you know...
You forget that when you watch it.
Yeah, you do, and it's like, you know, obviously, you're going to see... I mean, they could show you, like, weeks' worth of... I can't even look at it. It's like, they could show you, you know, a whole week where... I haven't done anything and I just can't move, and someone else is looking after the children.
But we see you in the show sorting everyone else's problems out.
Yeah, I don't look depressed, which is what someone said. It's like, you know, and that's...
Well, I think one of the journalists said, you know, you haven't